Hey everyone, Tim Muldoon back for day 11 of Ignatian mindfulness, and today's theme on a finally pretty mild day here in Boston, a little overcast, but it's later in the day because I took my family out and we had a safe social distancing trip to this lovely park. Just needed to get outside after being cooped up for way too long. It leads me to the theme for today, and I take it from a seminal essay by a Jesuit theologian, Walter Burghardt, who was describing contemplation. And this relates to an earlier video that I did, just about getting outside and becoming beholders was the term that I used from the Gerard Manley Hopkins poem. But I want to use a phrase that Burghardt uses. He describes contemplation as a long, loving look at the real. And now my students know this. They've read this essay for a number of years. He wrote it now, over 20 years ago. But I love this essay because what he puts his finger on, and it's helped me a great deal. I think I have discovered really over the last couple of weeks that I'm a fairly driven person. I like to get things done. I like the feeling of having accomplished things over the course of a day, as I know many of you do as well. And so it's a little arresting to be in this place where you're just in this brain fuzz and you're not maybe as productive as you'd like. And Burghardt's essay and his idea of contemplation being a long, loving look at the real, I have found very helpful. So what does he mean, and what do I mean by borrowing from Burghardt's great phrase? Well, just this, that the American default, and he even says this is a Western default. This is a disease, really, of the attitude of the West to accomplish things. He describes it as a kind of a post-enlightenment, sense of we got to have progress. And he says that there's something wrong with that what we need more of, and of course he's writing this well before the situation we find ourselves in now. What we need more of is the sense of being able to rest in reality and to return to a sense of contemplation, to a long, loving look at the real. So our value as human beings is not reducible to our output. And by the way, the best proof of this is that I don't think we want to go there when we think about very young people and very old people, and productivity being the measure of a human life. The measure of a human life is that it's human. And the ability to be human is the ability to contemplate, to see reality in a way that is loving, that recognizes it for what it is, for its goodness. And by the way, it could just simply be resting in the, simple awareness that, I'm going to just simply be today. I'm not going to get much done. Now, I'm doing this on a Saturday, and so, I'm myself in that place of saying, okay, it's a little bit easier to do when it's not the work week and when it's not, that I'm driven by deadlines and all the rest. But again, I'm reminding myself of this fact during this very, very weird time. I had a friend, God love her, sent just a graphic. And it was a picture of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, which I'm sure many of you know. At the bottom are just the basic needs of food and water and shelter. And then as you get further up, you get towards self-actualization, which is, this kind of abstraction of living a meaningful life and contributing to the world and all these sorts of things. And on the side, it was scribbled, no, we're down here. We're at the bottom of the pyramid. We're having to take care of very basic needs day to day, making sure that we're eating well, making sure that we're moving our bodies, making sure that we're connecting with other people in meaningful ways. Taking care of some very basic, kind of needs is where many of us are in this difficult time. So in this circumstance, it's probably not the best time to, write King Lear. I know some of us have seen that little thing about how Shakespeare wrote King Lear when there was a plague going on, or Isaac Newton, figuring out the theory of gravity. Okay, that's not going to happen for most of us. What is, I think, a much more perhaps realistic way to calibrate our daily lives is, can we find the time to contemplate? Can we see things anew? For us here in the Boston area, springtime. It's a good time to just pay attention to the fact that the trees are starting to bloom, that there are flowers out, that there is, the kind of natural hopefulness that comes with springtime. And beyond that, maybe it's just tuning into each other, even tuning into the reality of ourselves. And here I always think of someone like St. Augustine, who opined, "I'm a mystery unto myself," at one point in his life. There's a great deep inner life that each of us can discover, and we can contemplate even what's going on in our inner lives. There's a richness there. There's, to use the words of Teresa of Avila, an interior castle that is to be explored. So maybe it's doing a puzzle, maybe it's making a good phone call, maybe it's making a good meal, maybe it's writing a letter, maybe it's doing some gardening. Whatever it is, allow it to be an opportunity to recalibrate your mind. And again, our focus is mindfulness, is being aware that there is a good world out there to be contemplated if we are but there to see it. So I leave you with that thought on this day 11, and I will see you again next time.